Hi, I'm James the Light Guy, and today we're taking a look at another LED replacement headlight bulb. This is a 2020 variant of a bulb design that we've done in the past. Today's bulb is available on Amazon. I'll put a link to it in the description below if you'd like to get it for yourself. It comes from iVRYBRi, or iVRYBRi. Possibly an abbreviation for I'm very bright. But let's get into it. Opening the box, all we get are the bulbs. There are two. And as I said before, in a similar design to ones we've looked at in the past, let's zoom in and get our focus. These have the CSP chips arranged around the circumference at the top. So everything from the base plate up is the same as the other LEDs that we've looked at in the past. What's different is the overall form factor. Instead of having the connector and electronic controller on a set of wires off to the side, this has a mini heat sink with the controller inside, giving it an OEM bulb form factor. We can take this base plate off with a couple of quick screws. And you can see the brain is just potted in place with a epoxy resin and like RTV just siliconed in there. So we don't really have to worry about water ingress because it's all gummed up. But as you can see, we have an extruded aluminum case and no cooling fan. That brings us to the subject of today's video. I'm going to put this cover back on real quick. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, consider doing so and follow me on Instagram and Facebook for more content. So what we're going to do, instead of doing a beam pattern test like we normally do, because we've seen these chips in the past, they are incredibly bright and produce a near perfect beam pattern. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use some more tools in a new way. So we're going to take out our multimeter and the thermocouple assembly, and we're going to run this for a half hour to see how hot it gets. This mini heat sink, I'm not entirely confident in. Now, LED chips are good up to about 85 degrees before they start to suffer damage. That's 85 degrees Celsius. On this channel, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I tend to be more metric because metric is the measurement of science. So we want to be below 85 degrees science, and even the manufacturer's data specs on this say that its operational range is -40 up to 80. So let's grab our power supply, hook it up, and start our test. You can see our setup is pretty simple. We just have our power supply going into the bulb's positive and negative there. And we have the bulb suspended only by the plastic connector, giving full airflow to the heat sink. Although we don't really have airflow, it's just open air. And we have our thermocouple, which we will attach via some aluminum tape. This should not interfere with the test because it has very low thermal conductivity. So what we're going to do is first turn this on, set it to degrees Celsius. You can see our current ambient temperature is about 23 degrees Celsius, and how responsive it is to temperature change. My hand brings it right up, so we'll let that settle. And while it's doing that, we'll attach it to the side of the bulb. Now I want to be as close to the LED chips as possible without interfering with them, so we're going to put this right up here. Make sure that we're touching the shaft with that thermocouple. There we go. And we have a 30-minute hourglass that we're going to run in the background. That's all we have for setup. So let's flip this, turn this on, and we will be running it at 14.4 degrees. Volts. All right, nothing to it but to wait for the hourglass to run down. I'll check back with you in just a minute. And we're back after 30 minutes. We can see that it has not yet stabilized, as it's still climbing well over the 80 degrees. Oh, it looks like the slight bit of breeze I've introduced by coming back into the area has actually gotten it to be reasonably stable at 138 degrees Celsius. Let's shut that down. Move that off to the side. Now this thing's freaking out. And there we go. So, what does that tell us about the longevity of this light? Well, to be frank, probably not ideal. These bulbs say that they should operate between -40 and 80 degrees Celsius, and we saw it reach nearly double that when operating for a half hour in open air. In a sealed enclosure, I expect that temperature to get even higher. So, do I recommend these bulbs? Well, they are inexpensive and very good brightness and beam pattern wise. So if you do have an open enclosure or open headlight for example, a motorcycle where the back of the headlight has plenty of airflow while the vehicle's in operation, or much open space behind your housing in your engine bay of your car, then these may be a suitable option for you. I'm likely going to install these in either a Kia Soul or perhaps my motorcycle, and we'll do a video on that in the future. But I can't recommend these for housings that install and then have a dust shield or cover over. Not that many H11 type bulbs do that, because they do have a seal on the bulb. In any case, that's all I have for today's video. If you enjoyed it or found the information useful at all, go ahead and give me that like, share with your friends and family, and as I said before, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Consider becoming a channel supporter on Patreon, which helps us buy more bulbs like this and more equipment to do more videos with higher quality content. Until next time, I'm James the Light Guy.